Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Miss K and I'm here to sort of have a bit of a chat with you about the stereotypes that surround Tourette syndrome. So I thought I would start this video off first by sort of explaining who I am, when I was diagnosed, what my very first tic was. So I think that might be an interesting way to start this off. So my name is Miss K. I am a single mother to 3 children and I was first diagnosed with Tourette syndrome when I was about 7. I started exhibiting signs at the age of 6 and my very first tic was a violent shake that started from the tips of my toes all the way to my top of my head. So as I was doing some research into today's video, I came across a stereotype or a myth or whatever you want to call it surrounding Tourette syndrome, and that is the concept of it. You know, Hollywood has portrayed Tourette syndrome to be only yelling and swearing. When I first Googled Tourette syndrome back on many moons ago now, I seen a video, and the only video that was out there was of a young boy who was yelling and had the vocal tic, and none of the motor tic were out there. And I have predominantly motor tics. I have a mouth one, I have a shoulder one, sometimes I shake. I do have one verbal tic, which is, I don't know whether you'll be able to hear it, but so that was it just there. Now it is a vocal tic, not a verbal tic as I just said, but a vocal tic. There it is again. Once I start, even if I'm showing someone, I do find with my tics that they continue to sort of stick around while I'm focused on them. But you know, it's different for everyone else. I mean, some people have stressful situations where it'll play up, others they have different times of the day. For me, if I'm concentrating on them, then that's when they're going to play up more. Or if I see someone else who has tics, my tics start to play up. So that's a little bit more of an in-depth insight into my tics. So back to what we were discussing was the myths and the stereotypes that surround them. So correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not saying that I know everything here, but I actually don't know of a movie in Hollywood where tics are portrayed in many forms. So motor tics, vocal tics. For me personally, I've only ever seen the swearing tic and not any other type of tic. Another misconception that I have seen on the internet would be that all tics are the same, and everyone who has Tourette syndrome are all the same, and that is just not the case. My tic could be completely different to the person next door's tic, and it is. We all have our own individual things, and for me, along with my tics, I also have OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, and that goes hand in hand with my tics that I exhibit on a daily basis. So far I've discussed two tics, two tics, they're in the brain, 2 misconceptions that, you know, we've seen in society. Now I'd like to discuss a little bit on how that affects us. Now this is my first Instagram video, so I'm not quite sure as to how long Instagram will let me upload and how long the video will be. So if this one's a short one, I'll gradually get longer and longer and longer until I'm a little bit more professional. So having tics can affect us in many ways: schooling, social life, financially. For me personally, I was bullied a lot at school. Back when I was diagnosed, it was not a very talked about matter. I took many tests to work out what was wrong with me. Some of them which were extremely painful and caused a lot of mental health issues for myself. I had a lot of issues in school with learning, especially when it came to classwork. If I was having a bit of an episode with my tics, my mum would have to come and pick me up quite frequently because I wasn't able to concentrate. Making friends was difficult. A lot of my friends didn't know what was happening, and it was very hard to explain for a little girl to explain to her friends what was happening to her, that she could not control it. I found it very hard to keep a job when I got older. A lot of my bosses at the time didn't quite understand that Tourette syndrome, tics, was something that I could not control, and I couldn't stop even though I really wanted to. Even down to family members who just didn't understand and didn't grasp what was happening, because it was a topic that was not spoken about. There was a stigma attached to it, and speaking about Tourette syndrome was just something that a lot of families didn't do. And although I did have a lot of support later on in my family, I did have immediate support, but a lot of my family members found it difficult to understand what was happening to me. One of the most frequent sentences that was said to me as a child was, just stop it, or just control it. You don't need to do it now. Just stop. And those words frustrate me, because my middle child now has Tourette syndrome. And for me to think back to when those people would say that to me, I could never imagine saying that to my child, because I understand it, I grasp it, but in no way, shape or form do I have any ill feelings towards the people who told me just to stop it or control it. Tourette syndrome, as I said, was not a very spoke about topic, and if families or friends or communities didn't speak much about it, how are we supposed to educate? So hence why my Instagram has been a bit about this today, and will probably continue to be a bit more about this. So what can we do is one of the questions, is what can we do? We can educate. We can talk about it. And I think that's what needs to happen. We need to have a discussion. We need to have these discussions. We need to make them viral. We need to make them public. And we need to remove the stigma attached to Tourette syndrome. I believe that some of the most best education can come from people who suffer with Tourette syndrome. We can be the people in the forefront saying, yes, we have Tourette syndrome. It has not stopped us from moving forward in our lives. We can continue to do whatever we dream about. I am a student solicitor practicing towards my Bachelor of Laws, and I'm going into family law. We can help excite the next generation of people who are being diagnosed with Tourette syndrome and educate them towards their future, and help them understand that although they have this diagnosis, it's not the end of the world. Oh, the sun has just moved in a really awkward spot. So the closing thought of today, I think what I'm going to put out for today is going to be, how can you make a difference for the next generation of people being diagnosed with Tourette syndrome? I want you to really take that question and think about it deeply. And then I want you to like and comment. Leave the comments down below, because you never know if someone's just coming across and having a bit of a read through your comments. Your comment could be the thing that changes their life. It be for the next generation being diagnosed with Tourette syndrome, or is it for this generation? It doesn't matter. Someone could come across and read your comment, and that comment could just be what they needed to hear today. So I really want to thank everyone who's liked, commented, and followed me. I really appreciate it, and there's going to be loads more videos. I'm really hoping to get our voices out there. I want Tourette syndrome to not have any more stereotypes, any more stigmas attached to it. I want there to be positivity. I want it to be flowing. I want this discussion to take off. Thanks, guys, and I hope you join me the next time I decide to make a little video, which will probably tomorrow, because I really did enjoy making this one. Thanks, guys. Bye.